If your serve is the weakest part of your game and it's because of the waiter tray, then you're in the right spot. So many players struggle with their serve because they're doing the waiter tray, meaning that the strings are going up and hitting like this, and they don't know how to lead with the edge of their racket. In this video, I'm going to show you a very special drill that'll help you solve that waiter tray issue that you're having right now with just 2 fingers. So stay tuned. So like I said, if you have the waiter tray problem, then you already know what it's causing when you go out to match. When you go out to match, you can't hit a hard serve. You have to kind of like push it in because you know if you swing too hard, what's gonna happen? It's gonna go long. Not only this, it makes you kind of nervous out there because if you play better players, what are they gonna do? They're gonna attack your serve, making the level of confidence in your serve go way down, making you feel way insecure when you have to step up to the baseline to serve. So now let's go over the issue. Why is this so bad? Well, can I have a good serve with the waiter tray? Well, yeah, you can get the serve in, but you can't have a good serve. And this is the reason why. When you're using a waiter tray and the strings are going up, what happens is you have a capped speed limit. It's like a governor for your serve power, meaning that you can only serve so hard before as you approach the ball with your racket, the ball's gonna start going longer and deeper. And then you're gonna have this smaller and smaller window. You're like, oh, maybe I'll just hit it harder but lower. And so you're going towards a trap basically. You have to hit the ball harder and lower to achieve the same with a person who knows how to use the edge of the racket and send the edge of the racket up. Now, the benefits of having the edge of the racket going up towards the ball is you can start creating spin. Let me relate this to a ground stroke. Just imagine how hard you can hit the ball flat, just going straight through the ball. You can hit it really hard, but what happens? You sacrifice the margin over the net. You have to skim it over the net, which means you're gonna make a lot of error. When you learn to hit topspin, it adds more margin. It actually slows the ball down in some sense if you hit too much topspin, but with the right amount, you get a lot of control and you still have the ability to hit the ball very hard, higher over the net because the topspin is going to bring the ball down. Well, it's the same effect on your serve. When you have the ability to take your edge and send it up in the right direction, in the right racket path, then you're going to be able to have more margin on your serve and hit bigger serves with more margin. I know it doesn't sound like it should be true, but yes, you can hit bigger serves with more margin than if you just had the waiter tray serve. So let's get down to what's the problem. When we go through our serve with the waiter tray, generally one of the big issues I see is players not having the correct grip, meaning the continental grip. They usually have something like a semi-Western or even an Eastern grip, so when they go up, it's almost like a forehand grip, and they're automatically set in this position. So the solve, before we even get to the magical waiter tray solver, which is using your 2 fingers, is to make sure you have a continental grip. A continental grip will put you in a much better position, but it doesn't guarantee that you won't do a waiter tray. I've seen a lot of players that have a continental grip, and what they do is as they get back here, their elbow and everything collapses and their palms facing up, and they still have a continental grip, but they're using a waiter tray, which means they're not reaching their full potential on their serve, and I don't want that for you. So the very first thing is we gotta have a continental grip. And basically if you take this pad right here, and we're gonna take it, put it on the top and scoot it over. So there's the flat and the second flat, we want it on the second flat. So I'm right-handed, I'm going around to the right side. Another really easy way is just holding a racket head height with the racket nice and flat here and making sure that your hand is nice and flat. If it's poking up, you are too far around the racket. If it's kind of cocked down, you're too far around the racket. So this is also that chopper grip. Kind of 3 easy ways to make sure you're finding the continental grip. Now, let's get to the drills that help you with your waiter tray. Now, the first thing we're gonna work on is just the drop, and it's really simple because you don't have to do anything. What I want you to do is take your racket up in this fashion, making sure that the tip of the racket is facing up and not down. A lot of players might start off this way to get rid of the waiter tray, but I don't think that's a real answer. It just gives you another problem later on that you're gonna have to fix. So let's fix it all at once right now. So start with the racket up just like this. And I wanna make sure that when the racket's up, I'll show you from this angle right here, the racket can travel behind my head with the edge of the racket going down instead of the strings going down. Okay, so I just want you to do this a couple times, making sure that you're in a good position for the clear. Now what we're gonna do is simply grab the racket with our pincher fingers just like this. So just do this motion right here for 1 second, yeah. I'm actually making you do it for a purpose and not just making you do it for fun. But I want you to take it and grab the racket just like this, okay? So what should be able to happen is if I hold my racket right here with these 2 pincher fingers and let go, the racket's just gonna drop. And this is really important in the beginning. Just let the racket drop. And I want you to do this to make sure you're not holding too tight to hold it up, but you're holding it tight enough that it's not gonna drop out of your hand, but it's gonna drop. So what we're gonna do is go back to that position we were just at, here, but with the 2 fingers. Now look what's gonna happen if I just relax just a little bit. I'm holding it a little bit tighter now. It's just gonna drop, okay? So this is already putting you in a much better position than using your hand to go back. So all I'm gonna do again is hold in 2 fingers and drop. From here, you really get the feeling of what you need to do, which is just let the racket drop, okay? So I want you to do this at least 10 times. You're just holding it up, let it drop. Hold it up, let it drop. Hold it up, let it drop. The next thing we're gonna do is add more fingers to it, but we're not gonna create a lot of tension. So what I mean by adding more fingers, I'm gonna scoop my hand up into my continental grip, but really those same fingers I'm using for the pincher, they're just gonna wrap around now. I'm gonna hold it here, and obviously if I let it drop, it's not gonna go anywhere. It might go a little bit, but we're gonna let it drop and then let our hand follow. So this is the difference. When I had it here, the racket was doing all the work. When I have it with my hand, my racket's gonna start doing the work, but I wanna let my hand follow it. And so what you'll notice is that my hand continues to go on edge. If you're letting your hand or muscling, what's gonna happen is you're gonna pull the racket down here. It's gonna feel awkward because the racket's gonna stop compared to if we went to letting it drop and then we let our hand follow the drop, we'll just kind of probably hit the back shoulder blade here, which is totally fine right now. But the key is making sure that the edge of the racket is dropping behind my head. Now from here, I want you to think of a roller coaster. I like using roller coaster analogies if you don't know. So what we want to do is think of what happens on the roller coaster. You go up the first part, and you go, well, just like an emotion, and I'm not going to go through the whole motion. This is the first part of the roller coaster to get the racket up here, however you want to do it, if you want to do a full motion or not. And then we're going to let it drop. So it makes this little circle. And from here, what you're going to do is start focusing on your hip, turning forward. So you can see how we're going to start putting our timing together from letting it drop and turn. And the timing sequence of this is making sure that as it's dropping, you start turning. And when you start turning, you're gonna send the butt of the racket up, okay? So let's break this down now that you know that we're gonna let it drop, we're gonna do the timing and send the butt of the racket up. I don't want you to worry about the hips just yet. So what I'm gonna do is let it drop, and then I want you to send the butt of the racket up. Another way of thinking about this is setting the butt of the racket or the elbow up. So it's gonna drop, and my elbow and butt of the racket are gonna go up. Drop, elbow, butt of the racket up. I want you to do this another 10 times, getting used to letting it drop and letting your hand follow. And as it gets almost before it hits the shoulder, we don't want it to actually hit the shoulder blade back here. We're gonna keep it going and send the racket up. So it's almost like a chopping action. So drop and up, okay? And just relax. Drop and up. You can see how I'm adding a little bit more flow to this. Drop and up. Now you might already be doing this a little bit, but you're gonna start incorporating your hip a little bit. And how we're gonna do this is when it starts dropping, we wanna keep that momentum going. So if I go back to the 2-finger pinch, if I drop and then move, you can see how everything kind of just stopped. I killed the momentum or inertia. I got some physics guys out there that are crushing me. You'll help me out. Either one, the flow. I'm gonna go with that for a second. So what I wanna do here is make sure I continue it. So as it's moving here, I want to start turning my hip forward, which is going to almost sling the racket around. And when I say sling, I'm not talking about crazy sling, but we're just taking the momentum or the flow and having it come around and keep it moving. So from here, drop, keep it moving. So already you're seeing how I can incorporate the entire racket. Drop, keep it moving. And just go through this motion of getting up here, drop, keep it moving. And then making sure that with our hands in a good place for the continental grip, we're gonna drop, keep it moving. Now the final part is this. After you get this motion of drop and it's coming up, what we need at the end is that our hand is gonna turn. My forearm is gonna turn to get the racket face to look in the target we want. If I just went through this and hit it, I'll probably hit the frame of the racket, which is actually another really good drill. If by trying to actually open your palm to get the racket face to look in the direction you want, you start doing the waiter tray. So this could happen. Some players go like this and they instantly go like this. So it's too early. The strings are opening up instead of sending the edge up. What you can do is actually do the entire drill where we're gonna here, yeah, and just hit the frame a couple times. That's a great drill because what it does, it makes you go up on edge because we wanna go up on edge into the very last second and then turn the forearm out, okay? So that's something you can do if you find yourself still going to a waiter tray at the end of the stroke instead of the beginning. So if we're here and we've been hitting the frame, what we're gonna do is slightly open the frame a little bit. So if I was hitting the frame this way, I'm gonna open my strings just a little bit and you're gonna start slicing the ball off the court to the left. That's a good thing. Don't get frustrated if it starts slicing, because what you need to do is just keep opening up just little by little until you get the ball going in the court. And it'll look like this. I'll start here, drop, and it'll turn into a bit of a slice, but the whole key is there's no more waiter tray, okay? There's no more waiter tray, and I kind of taught you a slice serve in the process. So you got a couple bonuses there. But it's really key that you get this feeling of the drop and then keep it going and sending the racket up on edge to make sure you have a nice smooth and clean motion and it's not interrupted with that waiter tray drop. If you feel that the waiter tray, even after the drop starts coming back, go ahead and just hit the ball on the edge a couple times and then slowly work your way over. If you have no problem with it, just go ahead and open up and you'll find that, whoa, you'll get so much more power and you can start developing more spin and more power on your serve because you have the full range. You don't have to slow it down because now at contact, your strings are looking at the target instead of looking up. So I hope this makes a lot of sense to you. Let me know if you have any questions. Leave a comment below and a like if you like this video. Take care.